It's Zara and Liz in the morning. Get into it.
Behind closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.
Hello guys, this is Zara and Liz in the morning, and today we would like to have a viewers day.
My favorite segment.
This is when we call one of our viewers and like to have them tell us a topic they would like to talk about.
Before we start this video, it's sponsored by Fraley Corporation. They're a great company that meets all of your financial needs.
Check it out. To the caller. Sweetheart, you're on.
Hi, OMG. We love you guys. Anyways, I have more of a serious topic. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'd like to talk about how messed up the police system is.
Harsh topic.
Yeah, so there are many cases where cops have shot unarmed people for almost no reason.
What do you mean by no reason?
Well, for example, two cases that come to mind are Michael Brown and Terence Crutcher.
We've heard of those. We've definitely
Michael
heard
was
of those.
suspected for robbery and they shot him when he was unarmed. And Terence Crutcher was shot leaning up against his car with his hands up. He was unarmed as well.
I think we should find some more information about these.
My thoughts are just like, why not use tasers?
Exactly. So, I guess we should look up a video.
There is growing outrage tonight after an unarmed African-American teenager was shot and killed by police in the St. Louis suburb of Ferguson, Missouri. But there are conflicting reports about what led up to the shooting. NBC's John Yang has the details.
On the streets of Ferguson, Missouri, outrage and anger.
No justice! No peace!
Protesters of different ages and races demanding answers in the shooting death of 18-year-old Michael Brown at the hands of a policeman. Investigators said at about noon Saturday, the officer, who hasn't been identified, encountered Brown and another man on the street in an apartment complex. There was a struggle, and one of the men pushed the officer into his car.
Within the police car, there was a struggle over the officer's weapon. There was at least one shot fired within the car.
The struggle spilled out onto the street where Brown, whom investigators say was not armed, was fatally shot.
See, the fact that he was unarmed means something. I don't think police should shoot people who are unarmed. They should use something like a taser, anything else that could, contain them or control them if they're, doing what they said he was doing, fighting or whatever. They don't have to shoot somebody who's unarmed, and especially a young kid who still had so much life. Like, this is just so sad, so terrible.
Police have shot this man for no reason.
Piaget Crenshaw, who took the cell phone video, says she saw those shots from her apartment balcony.
He's running this way. He turns his body towards this way, hands in the air, being compliant. He gets shot in his face and chest and goes down and dies.
Witnesses said Brown's body lay in the street for hours.
Eyewitness. Even the eyewitness said, he said, don't shoot.
I'd like everybody here to appreciate that it took a very long time yesterday to process this scene.
The shooting sparked a furious reaction. Police responded in force, brandishing assault rifles.
Give us the serenity to understand things.
Michael Brown graduated from high school earlier this spring and was to begin college next week. His mother, Leslie McSpadden, has a message for the officer who killed him.
You're not God. You don't decide when you gonna take somebody from her. If that was the case, I brought him her. I should have took him from her. That was mine. That belonged to me.
Here at the spot where Michael Brown was killed, hundreds still gathering.
That's so sad.
Very sad. I just feel like our justice system doesn't use the correct procedural law. They said this man was unarmed and he had his hands up in the air like that. Why would you shoot somebody who's basically saying don't shoot me, doesn't have any weapons on them? That's just, and it makes people scared of police. it makes like, it just does a whole lot of stuff to America and anywhere this takes place as a whole, and just affects all the people. It affected the neighborhood. Nobody probably trusts the cops there anymore, and it's just sad. It's crazy.
The next video we're going to watch is of Terence Crutcher, which is the other person that the caller told us to watch.
For Complex News, I'm Speedy Mormon, and according to USA Today, a 40-year-old unarmed black man was shot and killed by police in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Police were responding to a call of an abandoned...
You see the pattern? Black men.
An abandoned vehicle in the middle of the roadway this past Friday. After officers arrived on the scene, Terence Crutcher was shot once and killed by Betty Shelby, an officer that has been with the force since 2011. The helicopter footage begins with Crutcher walking away from officers with his hands up.
He's got his hands up there for her now.
Next, the man talking makes a remark about Crutcher.
That looks like a bad dude too, to be honest with you.
Then Crutcher is shot and killed. Warning, the footage you're about to see is graphic.
Which way are they facing? Police 1, they're facing westbound. I think he may have just been tasered.
Shots fired!
Ooh. 321, we have shots fired. We have one suspect down. We need to enter here.
Here's dash cam footage of the incident as well. It's hard to see exactly what happens, but after a few seconds, you can see Terrence's body fall to the ground.
Sitting in with us tonight. Speaking of like pleasing your fans and always being their band, do you find it really hard?
Which way are they facing?
Now.
They're facing westbound. He may have just been tasered.
According to the New York Times, the Federal Justice Department opened a separate case to see whether or not a civil rights violation occurred. Tulsa Police Chief Chuck Jordan said officers found no gun on Crutcher or in his SUV. Jordan also said, "I want to assure our community and I want to assure all of you and people across the nation who are going to be looking at this, we will achieve justice, period." Terence Crutcher's...
Chuck, we're not listening to you, period, because... Take it away.
Well, like, the cops, they could have just, like, tasered him instead of, like, shooting him, and his hands were up, and they, like, assumed that he was on drugs or something.
I think when they made the assumption, like, ooh, this is a bad dude, they were trying to justify their reason for shooting him. Like, I think they had this, that they were going to shoot him. I think they already knew that they were going to shoot him. Like, and to me, in the footage, it's very, like, blurry and kind of hard to tell what's going on, but it looked like the woman came from nowhere and just, like, ran up and shot him. Like, I don't
understand.
understand.
There were other cops, and then she kind of just came out.
He's one man who was unarmed, and so many police officers. Like, it doesn't take that many people to bring him down, and it sure shouldn't take a bullet. Like, even if he was, like, fighting or resisting, it was a lot of police officers on him at the time. So, bringing a gun into the mix is just...
wrong.
Yeah. Violation of procedural law. Well, after hearing about all these bad things police have done to people in the past few years,
violating procedural law,
I'd like to mention some good deeds cops have done. Before we get into that, we actually have a Black Lives Matter activist here. She is one of the most influential people. She really speaks to the people and really opens their eyes on the Black Lives Matter protest. And here she is, Akira Tyler.
Hello.
Good morning, Akira.
Thanks for coming.
Yes, thanks for having me.
We would just like you to tell our viewers a little bit about the Black Lives Matter protest and what it's all about, because I know people have different...
like a misrepresentation of what it means.
We just want you to clarify what it means.
Sure. I'm here to clarify that the Black Lives Matter movement is not saying white lives don't matter, you know, any other races don't matter. We're to say Black people's lives matter also, because the police brutality is towards people of color, African Americans. So we're just a movement to help spread awareness. And this weekend, we're having a march downtown, if you want to join us.
Get into it.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Thanks for coming.
Yes, thanks for
coming.
me.
Thanks for talking to our viewers.
Of course.
Come back anytime. The first thing I have here is a cop by the name of, hold up.
David Nat.
Lieutenant David Nat actually saw a family sleeping in their car, and he went out of his way to buy this family a hotel room for the night instead of, you know, towing them because they were sleeping in a park. Instead of towing them because they were sleeping somewhere that you can't park a car overnight. And I just feel like that's a really good deed. And I feel like it's important to remember that not all cops are bad. Just some take it to the extreme and abuse their power.
So there's Commander Brian Peters. He was a retiring Minnesota policeman, and he was stopping around and paying for people's groceries and school supplies and handing them gift cards, just like to
As
be
a
nice.
good deed, as just to be nice and spread the generosity, and he wanted to do something good before he left the force.
Because he was retiring.
Yeah. And here's also a video montage of
like what I do. I am a marriage counselor, a teacher, let's see, social worker, psychologist, psychiatrist, a police officer, medical first responder, firefighter. I mean, we do so many things every night that are outside of putting handcuffs on people and writing tickets. The solving the marital disputes. People don't think about that. That's something you do every single night, is solve a family problem.
Obviously the fun and exciting stuff, the crime fighting stuff is what gets on TV. I don't think that somebody would want to go and watch me try and track down a dog that's running loose through a neighborhood and taking it out to the pound, but that's what we do. You know, there's a lot of not exciting stuff that we do, but it is, in one way or another, it's helping people.
I'm used to getting flipped off on a daily basis, or just driving through a neighborhood and have somebody saying, you know, F the police. And that's something that's become pretty normal throughout the day.
Boy, I've been called just about everything, from every racial epithet you can think of to just about every derogatory term. And so a lot of times, you know, we're meeting people in crisis when they're at their worst, and so you're gonna most times get their worst behavior, the worst things they can say.
You try not to take it personally. That person has their own situation going on. You know, maybe they didn't want to go to jail on their warrant because their kid's birthday is tomorrow. You know, we're put in a position a lot of times where we've got to make decisions that are going to affect someone's life, and may not affect just one person's life, but may affect several people's lives.
Do I think that there's bad officers out there? And I think absolutely there are.
And you say bad, I think, you know, I would describe as evil almost, you know, or they get good at camouflaging that up. So we have to be better at uncovering it.
You know, in any profession, not everyone's gonna do the right thing. That's just the reality, and you get some people who just, for whatever reason, are gonna do things they know they shouldn't be doing.
But I've got to believe in my heart it's less than 1% in a very noble profession that are acting out in ways that bring such bad press, and legitimately bad press, to our profession. The number one issue for police agencies is trust and confidence with the community, and looking at ways that we can go from what some might term a warrior mindset to a guardian mindset. We should be guardian servants is the role of a police officer.
It's the cliche of people are running away from gunfire and we're running towards it, and that's the truth. We're there to help, and we're there to protect people. As much as people want to have their own opinions of it, we don't discriminate. If you need help, we're there, and we're going to help in any way we can.
No one should live in fear where they live, you know, so certainly growing up in an area that wasn't always the greatest, you certainly realized how a few can dominate you know, for the many, and people can feel really uncomfortable in an area. And so I just wanted to make it so no matter what it was or what side of town it was, you know, on any street, people felt comfortable to go out and walk, live, and however I can help bring that about, that's what I wanted to do.
Just truly helping someone. That might sound cliche, but it's, I think that's where you get the most satisfaction in this line of work.
Okay, goodbye, caller. Thank you for calling, and make sure you tune in next week to Zara and Liz in the Morning. Alright, you guys, thanks for watching. It's been a rough segment today just because of how we were talking about police brutality and all this stuff, but we would just like to tell you guys that any topic you have on Viewers Day, you can always tell us about it, and we'll talk about it, whether it's good or bad. And we love you guys, and we'll see you next week.
It's ready when you are.
It's Zara and Liz in the